They were born as a miracle. 5 identical babies who survived against all odds in Depression-era Canada. The world called them a gift from God, but behind the headlines was a nightmare. Stolen from their parents, turned into a tourist attraction, and exploited for millions, while their own family fell apart in secrets and abuse. This is the dark tragedy of the Dionne Quintuplets, Canada's most heartbreaking miracle. I'm Jennifer Adams, and on this episode of Haunted History, we're taking a deep dive into one of Canada's most controversial stories. To truly understand the Dionne Quintuplets, we have to start at the beginning, with their parents and the world they were born into. Oliva and Elzire Dionne were a young French-Canadian couple from Corbeil, a tiny rural village in northern Ontario, about 400 kilometers north of Toronto. Corbeil in the 1930s was an isolated farming community in the Nipissing district, surrounded by dense forests, lakes, and rocky terrain. The population was small, mostly French-speaking Catholic families of modest means. Life revolved around agriculture, with residents scratching out a living from the soil through farming, logging, or trapping. The Great Depression hit hard here. Unemployment soared, and crop prices plummeted. Many families barely scraped by on government relief or bartering. Oliva Dionne was born in 1903 into a large farming family. He was a hard-working but uneducated man, leaving school early to help the family on the farm. By his early 20s, he was farming on his own plot of land, growing potatoes, grains, and raising livestock. He was known as a devout Catholic, stern and traditional, values shaped by his rural upbringing. Oliva married Elzire Legros in 1925 when she was just 16 and he was 22. Elzire, born in 1909, came from a similar background, a large, poor French-Canadian family where girls were expected to marry young and start families. She was described as quiet, resilient, and deeply religious, but her life was defined by constant pregnancy and household labor. The couple lived in a small, 2-story wooden farmhouse on their 160-acre property. Modest, with no electricity or indoor plumbing in the early years. It was heated by a wood stove, and water came from a well. By 1934, they already had 6 children. Ernest, born in 1926, Rose-Marie, born in 1928, Therese, born in 1929, Daniel, born in 1930, Leo, born in 1932, and Pauline, born in 1933. Pauline was only about 11 months old when her mother became pregnant again, this time with what would turn out to be quintuplets. She was so close in age to the Quints that people sometimes jokingly called her the 6th Quint, especially as a toddler when she looked strikingly similar. The family was tight-knit but stretched thin. 6 kids under 8 in a home with no electricity or running water during the worst of the Depression. Elzire, at just 24, was already worn down by constant pregnancies and farm work. Little did anyone know that her next pregnancy would bring not 1 child, but 5. Elzire's pregnancy with the quintuplets was extraordinary from the start. In late 1933, at the age of 24, she became pregnant for the 7th time. Early on, she felt unusually ill. Extreme nausea, swelling, and fatigue. By her 3rd month, her belly was so large that neighbors whispered she might be carrying twins, or even triplets. In an era without ultrasounds or prenatal scans, multiple births were rare and dangerous. Quintuplets were unheard of surviving. Corbeil had no hospital. Births happened at home with midwives. Elzire relied on two local midwives, her aunt Donalda Alegros and Madame Labelle, and called in Dr. Alan Roy Defoe, the area's county doctor. Dr. Defoe, a 51-year-old bachelor from nearby Callander, was experienced but unprepared for what was coming. He suspected multiples, but couldn't confirm. Elzire's health deteriorated. She suffered from preeclampsia-like symptoms. High blood pressure and bed rest was ordered. As the pregnancy progressed, Elzire's abdomen grew massively. She could barely move. The family worried. Multiple births often ended in tragedy, with high infant mortality. Oliva prayed fervently, and the community rallied with food and support. On May 28, 1934, 2 months premature, labor began at midnight. The midwives arrived first, followed by Dr. Defoe. In a cramped bedroom with Oliva pacing outside, Elzire delivered 5 tiny girls. Yvonne was born at 4:10 a.m., Annette at 4:25, Cecile at 4:40, Emily at 4:55, and Marie at 5:10. Each girl weighed under 3 pounds, with a total of 13.6 pounds. They were identical, sharing one placenta, a monozygotic miracle. The odds of survival were slim. Preemies in 1934 had no NICUs. Dr. Defoe wrapped them in blankets and gave them each hot water bottles. Then they were massaged with warm olive oil to aid circulation and protect their delicate skin. They were fed water sweetened with corn syrup every 2 hours in the first day. Newspapers called it a miracle birth. The Quints had defied expectations, surviving the first days. The Quints' birth was a sensation in Depression-era Canada, a ray of hope amid economic despair. But what followed was exploitation on a massive scale. Within days, reporters had swarmed the farmhouse. Oliva, overwhelmed and fearing for the girls' health, signed a contract with the Chicago promoters for a World's Fair exhibit, and later regretted it. The Ontario government, seeing profit potential, intervened. Under the Guardianship of Infants Act, they declared the parents unfit and made the Quints ward of the state in 1935. Dr. Defoe was appointed guardian, along with 2 others. The girls were moved to a state-of-the-art nursery across from the family home called Quintland. It became a tourist attraction. Glass-walled observation galleries where visitors paid to watch the Quints like zoo animals. From 1936 to 1943, over 3 million people visited, generating $500 million for Ontario, which would be equivalent to billions today. The Quints endorsed products, dolls, soap, cereal, earning millions more. The family saw little. Life for the Quints was a gilded cage. They were raised by nurses under Defoe's strict regime, scheduled play, medical checkups, and public viewings. They had no privacy. Cameras rolled constantly for newsreels. Dr. Defoe experimented with diets and routines, treating them as lab subjects for scientific child rearing. Some reports suggested unnecessary medical tests, though not as extreme as some other scandals. Dark secrets emerged later with the quintuplets' alleged emotional neglect. No hugs from the nurses, isolation from the world. Dr. Defoe portrayed himself as a hero, but profited handsomely from the endorsements. After public pressure, custody was returned to the parents in 1943, but the reunion was disastrous. The family moved into a new mansion paid for by the Quints Trust. Oliva and Elzire, now with 14 children total, struggled. The quintuplets later accused Oliva of SA, touching, examinations, and exploitation. Elzire was reportedly cold and abusive physically. The Quints felt like outsiders, used for publicity. Their mental health suffered. All 5 battled depression, and Emily had epilepsy. The trust fund, $800,000, was mismanaged, and the Quints got little until lawsuits. Adulthood brought more tragedy. At 18, they left home, cutting ties with their parents. Emily pursued a religious life, entering the novitiate of the Sisters of the Assumption in Nicollet, Quebec, seeking refuge from the family trauma. But her epilepsy worsened. On August 6, 1954, during a retreat, she suffered a fatal grand mal seizure in her sleep. The other nuns heard struggling, but thought it was a nightmare, leaving her unattended. By the morning, she had suffocated, likely face down during convulsions. An autopsy confirmed asphyxiation. She was only 20. The family sued the order, but settled quietly. The quintuplets believed better monitoring could have saved her, highlighting the long-term physical toll of their early life. Yvonne, Marie, and Cécile moved to Montreal, working as nurses or secretaries. Marie, the youngest Quint, was often described as the most sensitive and artistic. After leaving home, she trained as a librarian and a florist in Montreal. She married Florian Houle in 1958 and had 2 daughters. The marriage ended in divorce in 1964 amid emotional turmoil. Marie battled with severe depression and isolation, exacerbated by the family's abusive past. In 1970, at age 35, she died alone in her Montreal from a cerebral blood clot. Her sisters later revealed that she had been struggling with mental health, feeling like an outsider even among them. Marie's autopsy showed signs of long-term stress and possible neglect in her final days, highlighting the Quints' difficulty adjusting to normal life after being exhibits. This Quint, Yvonne, was introverted and creative. She studied sculpture and painting in Montreal, then briefly entered a convent like Emily before leaving due to health issues. She lived a quiet life, avoiding the spotlight, and worked as a librarian. Yvonne never married nor had children, dedicating herself to art and solitude. She battled chronic depression and health problems linked to her premature birth. In 2001, at age 67, she died from cancer in Montreal. In Family Secrets, Yvonne detailed the Quints' shared trauma from SA by their father Oliva, describing how it shattered their sense of self and relationships. Annette, the second born, pursued music, studying piano and becoming a talented pianist. She married Germain Allard in 1957 and had 3 sons, but divorced in 1970. Annette lived in Montreal, working as a secretary and later advocating for the Quints' legacy. He co-authored books exposing their exploitation and fought for compensation. Annette was the most outspoken survivor in later years, speaking at events about the family's abuse. Tragically, she passed away Wednesday, December 24, 2025, at the age of 91 in a Montreal suburb. reports indicate she died peacefully from age-related complications. As the last Quint, her death closes a painful chapter in Canadian history. Annette revealed in interviews the Quints' financial struggles post-settlement. Much of their trust was squandered by guardians, leaving them in poverty despite generating millions. Cécile, the middle Quint, trained as a nurse in Montreal. She married Philippe Langlois in 1958 and gave birth to identical twin sons in 1959, but one twin died shortly after birth from meningitis, a devastating echo to her own fragile start. The marriage ended in divorce in 1973. Cécile lived in Montreal, working as a nurse and a librarian. She was the most vocal about the family's abuses, co-authoring Family Secrets in 1995, where she detailed physical beatings by their mother, Elzire, and S.A. by Oliva. Cécile battled depression and health issues, including a kidney transplant. She died in 2021 at the age of 87 from complications of old age and chronic illness. Cécile accused Dr. Defoe of unnecessary medical experiments during Quintland, including forced isolation that stunted their emotional development. After leaving home, the Quints' lives were marked by a desperate search for normalcy amid profound trauma. Quints also struggled with identity. Raised as identical miracles, they felt like objects and not individuals. Financially, the trust fund, originally $800,000, was mismanaged by guardians, including Dr. Defoe, who profited personally. The Quints sued the government of Ontario in the 1990s, winning $4 million in 1998 for exploitation, admitting they were treated as human exhibits. Controversially, the government never fully apologized, and some funds went to legal fees. Her adult years exposed more dark secrets. The Quints' English-speaking upbringing erased their French heritage, cultural assimilation forced by guardians. Mental health crises were common, depression from isolation and abuse. Public fame haunted them. They avoided media, but spoke out later to reclaim their narrative. Annette's recent death marks the end of an era. She's remembered as a resilient advocate. As the final quintuplet, her death closes this painful chapter. The Dionne Quintuplets remind us how fame can destroy innocence and how secrets linger long after. The Dionne story haunts Canada, a miracle twisted into tragedy by greed and neglect. Thank you for watching Haunted History Canada's Mysteries. If this story moved you, please like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts. I'm Jennifer Adams, and I'll see you next time.